Dr. Sarah Chen had grown accustomed to the whispers that followed her through the corridors of the Galactic Medical Institute. The other physicians would fall silent when she passed, their delicate, crystalline features twisted in disgust at what they considered her primitive methods. To them, she was just another barbaric human from a death world, a planet so violent and unpredictable that its inhabitants had evolved to survive conditions that would kill most civilized species within hours. "The human wants to cut into patients," they would murmur in their melodic languages. "She believes in slicing flesh and breaking bones to heal." How utterly savage. Sarah ignored them, focusing instead on her work in the small clinic allocated to her in the station's lower levels. While the Zephyrian doctors upstairs practiced their elegant medicine, manipulating quantum fields to theoretically realign cellular structures, she dealt with the cases they deemed hopeless. The broken bones they couldn't mend, the internal injuries they couldn't quantum heal, the infections that resisted their gentle light therapies. Her success rate was embarrassingly high for someone practicing barbaric medicine. The call came at 0300 station time. Ambassador Veltar's voice crackled through the communicator. His usual composure shattered. "Dr. Chen, you must come immediately." "His Imperial Majesty. He's dying." Sarah grabbed her medical kit, a battered case filled with instruments that made her colleagues recoil in horror. Scalpels, forceps, bone saws, and syringes full of what they called poison, but she knew as anesthetics and antibiotics. She ran through the corridors toward the diplomatic quarter, her heavy boots echoing against the pristine walls. Emperor Cathera of the Andromedian Empire lay motionless on a hoverbed surrounded by the galaxy's finest physicians. The blue-skinned monarch's breathing was shallow, his forearms limp at his sides. Dr. Zelthus, the Institute's chief of medicine, wrung his hands in frustration. "We've tried everything," he said, his voice resonating with crystalline harmonics. "Quantum realignment, cellular resonance therapy, photonic healing matrices. Nothing works. The internal damage is too severe." Sarah pushed past the crowd of doctors and examined the Emperor. 3 days ago, an assassination attempt had left him with massive internal bleeding. A traditional bomb, crude by galactic standards but devastatingly effective, had torn through his abdomen. The Zephyrian doctors had spent 72 hours trying to heal him with their advanced, non-invasive techniques.
"His liver is lacerated," Sarah announced after a quick scan.
"Arterial bleeding in at least 4 locations. Bowel perforation. He needs surgery now." The doctors gasped in horror. Dr. Zelthus stepped back as if she had suggested ritual sacrifice. "Surgery? You want to cut him open? Like an animal? That's barbarism." "That's medicine," Sarah shot back. "And it's the only thing that's going to save his life." Ambassador Veltar looked between the human and the assembled physicians. "But surely there must be another way. Something more civilized?" Sarah pointed to the monitors showing the Emperor's vital signs. "He has maybe an hour before his blood pressure drops below survivable levels. Your civilized medicine can't repair damage this extensive fast enough." "I can." "Absolutely not," Dr. Zelthus declared. "We will not allow you to butcher his Imperial Majesty like some primitive. Let her try." The weak voice came from the Emperor himself, his eyes fluttering open. "I'd rather die under the knife of a barbarian than slowly bleed to death while surrounded by cowards." The operating theater fell silent, except for the hum of life support systems. Sarah had insisted on human surgical protocols, which meant the other doctors watched in fascinated horror as she made her first incision. The Emperor's blue blood, so alien yet so familiar, flowed under her hands as she worked. "Clamp," she called out, and Ambassador Veltar, serving as her reluctant assistant, handed her the requested instrument with trembling hands. "This is madness," Dr. Zelthus whispered. "She's causing more trauma than healing." But Sarah worked with the precision of a master craftsman. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency, each cut deliberate and necessary. She sutured torn blood vessels, removed damaged tissue, and cleaned the internal cavity of debris. The assembled doctors watched in growing amazement as the Emperor's vital signs began to stabilize. "How is this possible?" one whispered. "The trauma index should be through the ceiling." "We evolved on a world where everything tried to kill us," Sarah explained without looking up from her work. "Including our own bodies. We learned to fix what breaks because we break constantly, while you developed medicine to gently coax cells into healing. We developed medicine to forcibly repair catastrophic damage. 6 hours later, Sarah stepped back from the operating table. The Emperor's abdomen was neatly closed, his vital signs strong and steady. She stripped off her blood-stained gloves and looked at the stunned faces around her. "He'll be unconscious for another few hours," she said. "Full recovery in about 6 weeks, assuming no complications." Dr. Zeltis stared at the monitors in disbelief. The quantum resonance patterns, they're actually improving. Cellular regeneration is accelerating beyond normal parameters. "Barbaric medicine," Sarah said with a tired smile. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways." 3 weeks later, Emperor Cathera stood before the Galactic Medical Council, his recovery complete and his gratitude eternal. "I hereby establish the Chen Doctrine," he declared. "Deathworlder medical techniques will be studied, refined, and integrated into our standard practices. What we called barbarism, history will remember as innovation." Dr. Sarah Chen was no longer the savage human in the lower clinic. She was the physician who saved an emperor's life with nothing but steel, skill, and the hard-earned wisdom of a species that had clawed its way up from a world determined to kill them. Sometimes, the council learned, a little barbarism was exactly what civilized medicine needed.